The wedding had ended 3 hours ago, but Anna Whitmore was still wearing her white dress. She sat on the edge of a rough wooden bed inside a lonely mountain cabin, her hands trembling as tears rolled silently down her cheeks. Behind her, Elias Carter, the scarred cowboy she had married that very afternoon, stood near the fireplace, watching her with a question he was afraid to ask. Outside, snow hammered the cabin walls. Then Anna suddenly whispered, "Please, don't light another lamp." Elias froze. "Why?" She looked toward the dark window. "Because if he sees the light, he'll know I'm here. If you think you know why this bride was crying, stay until the end, because the truth behind her tears was far darker than a broken heart." And before we begin, hit like and subscribe to Meaningful Impact 2.1, because this story is about to take a turn you won't see coming. Elias slowly lowered the match in his hand. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The cabin was silent except for the storm outside and the faint crackle of dying wood in the fireplace. Elias had spent most of his life around danger. He had served as a scout, survived ambushes, crossed frozen rivers, and buried men he once called brothers. Fear didn't come easily to him, but the expression on Anna's face made something inside him tighten. She wasn't frightened of him, she was frightened of someone who might be standing outside. "Anna," he said quietly, "tell me who you're running from." She shook her head. "If I tell you, you'll regret marrying me." Elias stepped closer. "I married you because you needed a place to hide. I don't regret protecting someone." Anna looked down at her wedding ring. "You should." 3 months earlier, Anna had lived with her younger brother on a small ranch near Blackwater Ridge. Their father had died leaving them the property, but a powerful rancher named Gideon Vale claimed the land belonged to him. Anna refused to surrender it, and strange things began happening. Their horses disappeared, their barn was broken into, their well was poisoned, and one night, Anna returned home to find her brother gone. On the kitchen table was a single piece of paper: "Bring the land deed to the old church before midnight, or you'll never see him again." Anna went there, but no brother was waiting. Instead, Gideon Vale was standing beneath the church bell, surrounded by armed men. She escaped through a rear window and ran into the mountains. For 3 days she survived alone in the snow until she reached Elias's cabin. But Anna had never told Elias the most important part. She hadn't escaped alone. She had stolen something from Gideon, a small black ledger containing the names of every family he had cheated, every bribe he had paid, and every lawman who had helped him. That ledger was hidden beneath the floorboards of Elias's cabin. Elias didn't know it yet. Suddenly, 3 slow knocks echoed from the front door. Anna stopped breathing. "Knock knock." Elias reached for the rifle beside the fireplace. "Who is it?" A man's voice answered from outside. "Just a traveler looking for shelter." Anna's face went completely pale. "That isn't a traveler." Elias moved toward the door. "Do you know him?" Anna whispered. "That's Gideon's voice." The next instant, a bullet tore through the wooden door. Elias pulled Anna to the floor as another shot shattered the window. He rolled behind a heavy table, grabbed his rifle and fired toward the shadow outside. Horses screamed in the darkness. Men shouted, boots pounded through the snow. Someone tried the back door. Elias sprinted across the room and slammed it shut, just as a rifle barrel pushed through the gap. He grabbed the weapon and yanked. A man crashed through the doorway. The fight lasted only seconds, but it was brutal and desperate. The attacker swung at Elias, and Elias blocked the blow before driving him against the wall. Another man appeared through the broken window. Anna grabbed the fireplace poker and struck the rifle from his hands, giving Elias enough time to tackle him. Then everything went silent. One attacker escaped. One lay unconscious, and one message had been carved into the cabin door with a knife. "The bride is not. You think she is." Elias stared at the words. He turned toward Anna. She was standing beside the bed, holding the black ledger against her chest. Elias' eyes widened. "You brought that here?" Anna nodded. "And Gideon knows?" She swallowed. "He doesn't just know where I am." She looked toward the window. "He knows who you married." Elias slowly raised his rifle. "Who am I supposed to be?" Anna's voice broke. "The man Gideon Vale has been hunting for 10 years. Elias stared at her. Then he noticed something strange on the ledger, a name, his father's name, and beneath it were 4 words. "Ha! Did not die accidentally." Elias didn't sleep that night. He sat beside the dying fireplace with his father's old revolver resting across his knees, while Anna explained everything. 10 years earlier, Elias's father had been investigating Gideon Vale's illegal land dealings. He had discovered that Gideon was using forged deeds to steal ranches from struggling families. Before he could expose him, Elias's father was killed in what everyone believed was a stagecoach accident. Elias had spent a decade believing his father died because of bad luck. Now he discovered the accident had been planned. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked. Anna looked at him through tears. "Because I was afraid you would think I married you to use you." Elias stared at her. "Did you? Then why?" Anna answered softly. "Because when everyone else ran from me, you opened your door." She placed the ledger on the table. "And because I knew Gideon would eventually come for me." Elias looked toward the storm. "Then let him come." At dawn, Elias and Anna rode toward the abandoned mill where Gideon's men had taken Anna's brother. They traveled through a narrow mountain pass while snow fell around them. Halfway there, they discovered fresh horseshoe marks. 6 riders were ahead. Elias dismounted and examined the tracks. "They're waiting for us." Anna tightened her grip on the reins. "Then we shouldn't give them the chance to choose the battlefield." Elias looked at her. The frightened woman from the cabin was gone. In her place stood someone who had survived 3 days alone in a blizzard and refused to surrender. "You stay behind me," he said. Anna shook her head. "Not today." The abandoned mill appeared through the trees just before sunset. Smoke rose from its chimney. Gideon had been expecting them. His men surrounded the building. At the center stood Anna's brother, alive but frightened, with Gideon Vale behind him. Gideon smiled when Elias approached. "Your father had the same stubborn look." Elias's jaw tightened. "You killed him." Gideon laughed. "Your father wasn't important enough to kill." Elias took one step forward. "Then why did you spend 10 years making sure nobody found the truth?" Gideon's smile disappeared. Anna stepped forward. "You want the ledger?" Gideon looked at her. "Give it to me." Anna held it up. "You first." Gideon nodded. 2 men dragged her brother toward the doorway. Elias raised his rifle. "Let him go." Gideon laughed. "You're standing in a building surrounded by men who have nothing to lose." Elias looked around. "So do I." The fight erupted. A gunshot shattered the silence. Elias dove behind a wooden beam as bullets struck the walls. Anna pulled her brother toward cover. One of Gideon's men charged Elias with a rifle. Elias blocked the attack, knocked the weapon away, and forced the man backward. Another attacker came from behind, but Anna warned him. Just in time, Elias turned. The 2 men collided. Wood splintered beneath them. Outside, Anna's brother grabbed a fallen rope and pulled a wooden support loose. The old mill groaned. Gideon realized too late that the building was collapsing. "Everyone out." His men scattered. Anna ran toward the doorway with her brother. Elias saw Gideon escape toward the horses. He chased him into the snow. For years, Elias had imagined the moment he would face the man responsible for his father's death. Now it was finally here. Gideon swung first. Elias blocked the blow. They struggled in the snow, until both men fell against the frozen ground. Gideon reached for his weapon. Elias knocked it away. "You took my father." Gideon stared at him. "You think killing me brings him back?" "No." Elias stood. "Truth does." The territorial marshal appeared on the ridge with several deputies. Anna had secretly sent the ledger to the marshal before the confrontation. Every name, every payment, every stolen ranch, every piece of evidence. Gideon's entire empire was exposed. He was arrested before he could escape. Weeks later, spring finally arrived. The snow melted from the cabin roof, and sunlight returned to the valley. Anna stood beside the same window where she had cried on her wedding night. Elias walked up behind her. "You aren't afraid of the dark anymore?" Anna smiled. "No." He looked toward the mountains. "What were you really crying about that night?" Anna took a long breath. "I wasn't crying because I married you." She looked at him. "I was crying because I thought my life was over." Elias smiled. "And now?" Anna looked around the cabin. "Now I think it finally began, outside." Her brother laughed as he repaired the fence. The cabin that had once been a hiding place became their home. Even the woman who had arrived at Elias's door believing she had nowhere left to go, finally discovered something Gideon Vale could never take from her. A future. Not because a cowboy saved her, but because she found the courage to stand beside him. If this story kept you watching until the very end, like this video and subscribe to Meaningful Impact 2.1 for more emotional, cinematic frontier stories filled with mystery, courage, betrayal, action, and unforgettable twists. And remember, sometimes a person's tears aren't a sign that they've lost everything. Sometimes they're the final tears before they find the strength to fight for everything they have left.